Here is my LEGO Technic Koenigsegg Jesko Drivetrain model. This is the first model in a potential series of drivetrain models I may make. The idea here was to have a chance to model the Jesko's unique 7-speed or 9-speed gearbox, as well as its interesting rear suspension, but without having to build a whole car around it. So, as such, I've just got the basic drivetrain with an engine, the gearbox, the differential with the lock, and then the suspension. And then underneath, I have 6 motors and a powered-up hub to control everything. So, as mentioned before, my powered-up hub, I'm running it off of my small rechargeable camera battery, and because of that, I also have a power functions output, so I'm using that to power functions motors for this. I could have used a separate power functions battery, but I didn't really see the point when I had the other one available. So I've got 2 knobs here connected to switches. The first one controls the servo motor for the rear wheel steering, like the real car has, though it probably moves further than it would otherwise. Well, than it would in real life. So the motor is just down there and works some bevel gears. Then I have another knob down here that runs the power functions large motor to run the drivetrain. And the motor is located right up there. The suspension attempts to replicate Koenigsegg's triplex design, as others have done. So it has the double wishbone design down here, with this then going up, compressing these shocks through push rods, and then this third one up here is being used as anti-squat damper. So if one side goes up, it compresses that. And then there's also the Z-shaped anti-roll bar, so that when this wheel is pressed up, it wants to pull the other wheel up through these linkages here. And anyways, on top of that, we have steering with a kingpin inclination and a caster angle. The gearbox, however, is the highlight. So the real vehicle, the basic design, they call it a 6-clutch design, and it's a 9-speed. So my understanding is that it's essentially a 3x3 gearbox with 3 clutches for each. So my clutches are replicated there, and there, multiplied by there, and there for 9 total speeds. Now, I also added, there's an extra shaft down below that. That one's for reverse. And I also have park and neutral controls. So I'll be starting up the motor, and then I'll show you my program to control it. So this is my powered up control program here. This set of 9 buttons is supposed to be the numbers 1 through 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, arranged the same way they would be on a calculator. And then these 3 buttons with the square on them are supposed to be park, reverse, neutral. And then these 2 here are just when you're in normal gears, allowing you to bump up or down a gear. The reason I have this complex pad here is because an important feature of the real car is its ability to shift at will from any gear to any gear. So with these, I can shift straight from 7th to 2nd, or from 2nd to 9th, or 9th to 4th. Any combination can be done immediately, but it also has a more traditional control with just up and down. Then the dial here, that tells you what speed you're in, so the normal numbers are just, normal gears are just normal numbers. But then these ones here, so neutral is 15, and reverse is 19, and park is 17. That's because N, R, and P are the 15th, 19th, and 17th letters of the alphabet, and I just needed something numeric to denote that. Then if I go back to 9th, here you can see I just have basic down and up shifting. So right now the gearbox is in neutral. First I'm going to put it into park. So when that happens, these two gears are engaged, which locks the rear wheels. But the engine can still keep running. So now I'll go back to neutral. So now the wheels can turn. Then we'll try reverse. So the lower gear there is engaged, and that one is engaged. Okay, it's actually going forward, so I have the motor reversed. There we go, now it's actually reversed. Then I can go first. Second. Third. Fourth. Fifth. Sixth. Seventh. Eighth. And ninth. So because of the extremely complex nature of controlling all 4 of these selectors at once, I was dependent on the powered up technology to allow for the programmability. So I used all 4 of my powered up motors, 2 XLs and 2 Ls, to control the 4 things independently. So as I mentioned, there's also a differential lock back here. With that driving ring, I probably should have just controlled it with an extra power functions motor, but instead I hooked it up to the transmission here. So it's actually hooked up to this shifter here. Wait, no. Is it that one? Let's see. No, I think it's this one here. This one here it's connected to through this long diagonal beam you can see under there. So the idea, I guess, is that if you're starting in the low gear, that's when you're most likely to have wheel spin and hence need the differential lock. It's not entirely accurate, but anyways, it remains engaged from first to third. Then if I shift into fourth, you see it comes out. If I go back to first, it goes back in. Overall, I quite enjoyed building this model. It was an interesting thing for me, and as far as I know, I haven't seen anyone else build a standalone drivetrain model like this before. But it's quite interesting because it allows me to model an interesting gearbox and potentially suspension without being constrained by space limitations so much, and without having to go to the effort of building a whole car around it, which I personally don't enjoy nearly as much as building the drivetrain. So I've got some ideas for what I might do in the future for other drivetrain models. But this one here, I quite liked the shifting sophistication I was able to get using the powered up control. And that way I'm very happy with it.